Okay, it says I'm live, but I can't see myself. But you know what? I'm going to go ahead and just do this real quick. Quick reminder tonight, you guys, City Council meeting, 6 o'clock. The 1.29 million square foot warehouse has been pulled from the agenda. So that's pretty much why I was going to go there and talk about that. But also tonight, they're going to be appointing new, or can I say this? Not new, but I guess let me say it right. They're going to be appointing new city planner for the planning commission tonight. I think there's 3 or 4 of them that are going to be reappointed. Okay, there I go. I don't know why this camera trips like that, but it does. So welcome. My name is Donovan, Saadiq. I'm the Inland Empire Informer. So I'll be at City Council tonight, and I'm going to be speaking on a few things in regards to, I would say more so redesigning the way we have our customer service base to the departments at City Hall. I believe that the way it's designed, there is a compromise to it, because when I go in there and I film, a lot of people don't like to be filmed, so they don't have the privacy that they have, but also the way that it's designed. It's just an idea to throw to the council and throw to the staff. The way that it's designed, it doesn't necessarily protect their personal information, because I could stand in that lobby and I can see computers and I can see that. And as we know, public servants have a responsibility to protect people's personal information. And I don't go in there specifically to get personal information, but I just noticed that if somebody came in there with nefarious reasons, we should redo that and have it redone. So again, welcome you guys. My name is Donovan Saadiq. I am the Inland Empire Informer. I'm also known as nationally as the Recovering Democrat. A lot of stuff going on. Juneteenth just passed by. Father's Day just happened. Happy Father's Day to all those fathers out there. Every day is Father's Day. Every day is Mother's Day. So we don't need a special day, for us to be us, right? Okay, so a lot of people were wondering, today was the day that I was to defend myself against a civil harassment lawsuit brought by Denise Fleming. And it was kind of a very strange court day. And I'm going to say why it was strange, because it seemed like it was more of a First Amendment court case than it was harassment. If you guys saw my earlier post, she lost on all counts. She couldn't prove harassment, not one bit. If you're going to allege somebody has harassed you for a 10-year period and you can't show the evidence, and I'm going to tell you, this judge deferred to them a lot. I would say for an hour, and we should have only had 20 minutes. We were in there for about an hour. So we went to break in the morning. Right after the break, our case was called and we got done. Then they went to lunch. So we were in there about a little bit over an hour, not too much. But I'm not going to go into it. And the reason, if you guys looked at my topic, the reason I'm saying that, I don't feel like spiking the ball because I've got a victory without a victory, is the fact that this case should have never been brought to begin with, in my opinion. I was hurt at the event that I won those cases, right? And I won, okay? They found Denise Fleming and the Edgemont Women's Club liable for my injuries. So they had to pay, which they haven't done yet. And I sent a demand letter today. And it wasn't a big payout. It's less than $1,000, $725, I believe, or something like that, around that thing. I haven't been paid yet. Okay. So I sent out a demand letter and I'm going through the steps with that. But my point is this case should have never been filed. It should have never been filed because it is not true. And the judge pointed out in the case, well, if you ran for public office and Denise had her highlights and stuff, and she came, I guess, as prepared as she could come. We gave her another 30 days. We were the one that continued it because I felt, she should have an attorney. I had an attorney because this is some serious allegations you're making. And, but basically this case, it basically just vindicated me as a it vindicated my First Amendment rights. So let me paraphrase what the judge said. The judge basically said, how you feel about what a person's doing that is lawful is not harassment. It's not harassment. If, let's say a person's talking about you, it's not harassment if it's true. One of the things I think that was really not good for Denise's, or let me say better, the plaintiff's side, is the fact that she acknowledged that I do a podcast and I do a, First Amendment audits and stuff like that, and I disseminate information to the community. Now, if you're a judge and you hear that, you're saying, well, okay, number one, your ears and your antennas should go up and saying, okay, this guy has some kind of news thing which would fall kind of in the First Amendment type area. Okay, so now, in my opinion, it seems to me the judge is now put in a position to where they have to uphold my rights versus her accusations of harassment. And it just seems to me everything that the judge asked her to present, she couldn't do it. The judge said, okay, 10 years, you're alleging this guy's harassing you, and you can't show me one thing of him harassing you. Him commenting and giving his opinion or his commentary on you as a candidate is not harassment. I mean, I would have never brought this case to file. I would have never filed this case. Shame on her attorney who took, well, I guess things are getting desperate. So I guess attorneys are getting desperate too. You're just going to take this woman's money. But to take this case, knowing that I just won a civil case to where the plaintiff was held liable for my injuries, that doesn't look good. It just didn't look good at all. I'm not happy because it's really sad. It's really sad that in this country we've come to this. Let me just speak on Black people. As bad as Black people have it in this country, if you believe it or not, I'm a Black man. And, my issue with this was, that's fine. She could do what she wants, but you're threatening my Second Amendment rights. Now, things are getting crazy in this country. If I had lost this case, I would have lost the right to bear arms and defend myself. I would have lost that. I would have lost the ability to go certain places. I would have been restricted. I would have been under a pseudo-judicial type system to where I'm sitting in the court and she's clearing out the docket. She's clearing all the easy stuff out first, right? 2 people didn't show up to their case. All the proper paperwork was filed. Everything was great. I saw 2 dudes get a harassment order put on them for 3 years. And it could be renewed again in another 3 years, all because they didn't show up. And the ladies that put the harassment on them proved their case. They went forward because he didn't show up. He acknowledged, he got served. Everything was perfect. He got slapped with 3 years. Both of those guys got slapped for 3 years. I understand that you can get a harassment thing against you for 5 years. Just imagine that. For 5 years, you can't go certain places. You can't go here. You can't go there. You can't own a firearm for 5 years, all because somebody might have made a false accusation against you or something like that. Thank God I've matured enough to know to show up. And I got an attorney because civil harassment, number one, it's very hard to prove. And this case actually showed how hard it was to prove because the plaintiff did not, I mean, the judge gave this person so much discretion. We were in there for an hour, and they must have had at least 40 minutes of the hour. I think my lawyer talked about 20 minutes as he was cross-examining other people. I didn't talk at all, other than maybe a few things here and there. But basically, my answers were yes and no, no and yes, this and that, right? Some of the things that were alleged in there, totally untrue. Totally untrue. The judge sat there and was reading some of my posts. She was hearing some of my podcasts. And she just didn't agree with it. She was like, he's got a podcast. That's could be interpreted in a million ways. If he says that on a regular basis, how is that harassment? Yeah, you might interpret it this way, but that doesn't mean it's harassment. And, you know, her attorney that we just met this morning, we didn't get any chance of discovery. And in a harassment case, there's no guarantee you're going to do discovery other than that morning. Here's what I got, here's what you got, whatever. You know, they have a little bit different rules than like in a criminal case or a different type of case. This is a harassment case, so the rules are a little bit different. So I don't underestimate anybody, okay? I didn't sleep a wink last night. Well, I slept a few times, but, you know, nothing really steady like I usually do, because this could go bad. This could go bad. And I think one of the biggest problems that the plaintiff had was they went with the helpless woman strategy, kind of like what happened with the Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing. She went with the helpless woman strategy, which didn't make sense. And it was funny because if you were there, I saw my lawyer bait them into a trap. It was something out of A Few Good Men, any of those great lawyer type movies. They baited them right into the trap. I mean, he baited her right into the trap because their side brought up what had happened to me. Now, remember, this is about harassment, not what happened to me. That's a totally different case. And I think that's another area where they screwed up, is they kept trying to justify. If I was the lawyer, and I'm not a lawyer, but if I was that lawyer, I would have never even brought up March 10th. What happened at March 10th? I would have never brought it up, because it really is apples and oranges. I'm here for a harassment case. I have to prove harassment. And there's no way I can prove harassment if my client has been found liable to injuries to the defendant, me. I would have never brought that up. And he baited them, and they went straight down that rabbit hole. And I'm looking at him and I'm listening, and, you know, he's tapping me on my leg, and I'm just like, oh, damn. And I can see where it was going. So I'm a paraphrase here. And I think this is what sealed the fate of everything. And this is my opinion. Since they brought up March 10th, he said, shortly after the incidents of March 10th, and I'm paraphrasing, did Mr. Saadiq sue you in civil court? She answered yes. Now, the person that you allege Donovan sent to your house, could that possibly have been a process server? Because what I got out of it was she was alleging that I was sending, I don't know, people to beat her up at her house or killers to her house. I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy. And what's really sad is when you know this person is making up stuff and lying on you. And it's just not believable. It wasn't even believable. But I saw my lawyer set this up. And he said, so would it be possible that the person that went down there, because the person that went down there used my name, okay? And they said, yeah, I'm here in regards to Donovan Saadiq, blah, blah, blah. Could that have been a process server? Possibly, especially if I sued you shortly afterwards. But you wouldn't know that because you didn't want to engage the process server because you were avoiding being served. So, I mean, it was masterful. It was a master class in litigation. It was a masterclass. We didn't have any evidence. We didn't have any witnesses. There were witnesses that the plaintiff called. And again, I hold no ill will against people that are there to tell the truth or what they saw or what they witnessed. I have no issue with that whatsoever. And I thank them for telling it like they saw it. I don't have problems with people who, it's like an accident. Everybody could see an accident, but everybody sees it differently. So I don't have a problem with that. And I thank them. And like I said, and I know those witnesses and I know them and I thank them. And I said, thank you guys for, coming and, telling what you needed to say, but again, I have to credit my lawyer because he masterfully walked them down an aisle that had to do with March 10th. And this, I think, was the mistake. March 10th has nothing to do with you proving harassment. And so, the judge kept asking her, show me this video, show me this. Come to find out, she admits in court, open court, that she didn't really receive anything from me. The information she gets is from a third party. So like somebody else would tell her, oh, Donovan said this about you, or Donovan played this video about you and, and did a narrative on it. So Donovan isn't sending you anything. You're getting stuff from a third party, which isn't harassment. So, I'm happy that I won the case, but I'm kind of sad at the simple fact that it's a win without a victory. Do you see what I'm saying? It's a win without a victory because I had never been lied on so much by this person. I mean, and she was outright lying. And she, I can't say she knew she was lying, but there were some whoppers in there. There were some huge whoppers. And I just couldn't believe that this person is willing to do this at the cost of me financially and my Second Right Amendment rights with this crazy time going on. We tried to settle this case. I can't settle the case. It's her case. It's the plaintiff's case. They can settle it at any time. And I was willing to do that several times. She refused because I don't think it's fair that I have to pay my legal fees for a accusation that totally was not true. It totally was not true. She did not prove harassment in any sense of the word. The judge gave her over 40 minutes. We sat there for like 5 to 8 minutes while she's fumbling. Her and her attorney are fumbling, trying to find exactly where I said something. And in the end, they couldn't find it. She tells the judge, I have over 20 links of his videos, him talking about me and my family, but yet she couldn't show anything. The only thing that my attorney told me was, he said, Donovan, do you have the video of March 10th? I said, yeah, it's up on YouTube. He goes, key it up. I said, okay, I don't question my lawyer. Okay, I'll key it up. So I keyed it up, got to a point, because nobody wants to see a whole 8-9 minutes. That's a long time in court time. So I keyed it up to where you can see Miss Fleming in the video, and a lot of you guys have seen the video. And I just sat it down. He said, just have it ready. And we're sitting there like whispering to each other because we barely had a chance to talk. It was mostly their case to prove, and they didn't prove it. And I'm sitting there wondering, okay, when are we going to use the video? When are we going to use the video? We're going to use the video. We never got to use the video. There was no need to do it. And it was, number one, I was embarrassed for the plaintiff. I'm not saying that her attorney was a bad attorney. I don't know if she got the attorney at the last minute or whatever, or the attorney didn't understand harassment. This case was not about what a bad guy I am. This case was not about slander. This case was not about ego. You know what I mean? All these other things you can throw out there. me being on parole, me doing this, me doing that. That was not what the case was about. The case was about the plaintiff proving I harassed her. And in nowhere did we even get to that. The judge admonished me. The judge did say, yeah, his choice of words aren't really great. His choice of how he expresses himself might not be great, but he has a right to do so. Should he use better words? Yeah, maybe he should, but he doesn't have to. And it was apparent that the judge was upholding my First Amendment right to free speech. And that, at the end of the day, I think is what this case ultimately ended up being about: free speech. Just because you don't like what somebody's saying about you does not mean it's harassment. The judge did say, maybe you could sue him under defamation. Maybe you can do that. But that would be hard to prove also, because one of the things her witnesses and she said, I go around the city on my platform and I disseminate information to the public, which makes me a form of press. Very, very hard to prove. Now, the one thing I learned from this is maybe I need to choose my words a little bit more carefully. Maybe I need to, just kind of take it down a notch, as it was suggested to me to do that a little bit and be a little bit more kinder. As you guys have saw in my last video, a couple videos back, where I won my case on March 10th, I said, LaDonna Jimson, she gets really bothered by the way I characterize her. Even though the characterization is correct, what did I say? I'm not going to do that anymore because it bothers her a lot. And I've kept my word up until this point. Okay? Until I'm given a reason to do it again. And I'm not going to do that. I have realized that my passion, let me say that, passion, is sometimes interpreted as something else. I can't apologize for that if I'm a passionate person. People are passionate, they're just passionate. But I don't take anything personal. You can talk about me all day, because at the end of the day, I know what I am. I know what I did. I know what the truth is. Okay? So unlike a lot of people, I can take a lot, but I can also dish it out if I need to. So in conclusion, it was a victory, but it's nothing that I want to cheer about. I really do feel a certain way. I really do feel a certain way, because it didn't have to come to this at all. I didn't bring this suit. My suit was not frivolous. I believe that this suit was unnecessary, and it's going to cost everybody something. It's going to cost everybody involved something, and it has. But for all you auditors out there and you people out there standing up for the First Amendment, this case was a classic case of First Amendment rights being upheld, because that's all I got out of it. Everything that she tried to say that was harassment was upheld as free speech, just about, and I have a right to do it. So I'm going to say this for my auditors out there and people that are thinking about getting involved in this. Please get and know a good attorney, because you are going to need it. I've been doing this for about 6 years, according to the plaintiff. I think I started doing this. When did I lose the election against Victoria Baca and LaDonna Jimson? Wasn't that 2014? And remember, I went in my garage and I started doing this, and people were like, look at this guy. What's wrong with him? So that was in 2014. So I've been doing this for a minute. And in all that time, I have never, and I still to this day, I have never been sued for putting stuff out there that isn't true. I haven't been sued because I try to be as careful as I can, but I'm not a lawyer. So I'm going to tell other people that are now getting involved in this, and doing a great job. There's a lot of great platforms out there. There are lots of them. And it's funny because now that we are paying attention and watching our city people, they're pulling stuff that they thought back in the old days, they used to be able to sneak it in and nobody said anything. Now we're watching. Get a good attorney or know a good attorney, because you're going to need it. Somewhere down the line, you are going to need it. And there are going to be people who have the money and the resources that are going to try to stop your First Amendment right to free speech. Thus, if you guys noticed, ever since I got sued, my participation in broadcast went down significantly because I couldn't really speak, because I didn't want to say stuff to tip the other side. I didn't want to say stuff that would get me into more trouble, even though I know I didn't do anything. This lawsuit was pure retaliation, because I sued you on a legitimate claim for an injury, which was legitimate. And then a week later or 10 days later, you sue me for harassment. Yeah. So, yeah. But anyway, you guys, please get or know a good attorney. I have a great attorney. His name is Smith. And not far from where I live. They're right down there by the Woodcrest area. When I got word that there was a TRO on me in the Dominican Republic, I told him what was going on. I issued him all my stuff. All I had was a credit card. I'm on vacation. I had a credit card. And of course, he's got to get his money first. So he got the retainer off the credit card. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. So my vacation was ruined a little bit, but it's okay. But get and know a good attorney. So I told Mr. Smith, as we separated both our ways, I might have to retain him as a go-to guy, but masterful direction of the court. Not many words spoken, because they just weren't prepared. And I'm trying to be nice here. They were not prepared for a harassment case. They were prepared for a feelings case, and you can't win a case on feelings in a court of law. You just can't do it. So I won, but I lost. I just don't feel good about it. So anyway, yeah, I'm Donovan, Saadiq, the Inland Empire Informer. Moreno Valley City Council meeting 6:00. That's in 1 hour. And they are putting on new planning commissions. There was supposed to be a warehouse, which was the real reason I was going down there to do the thing. But I'm going to go anyway and talk about maybe redesigning City Hall indoors so we can protect people's privacy a little bit better than what we're doing. So if you guys do me a favor, please like, share, subscribe, make a comment, make a finger, do a gesture, whatever it is. It doesn't matter to me. But yeah, so I won 3 cases and no contested a 4th. The no contest was LaDonna Jimson. She was removed by the judge out of my filing in that case. If she had stayed in the case, because of the liability of them sustaining the injury, I probably would have won that too. But the judge didn't think that her level of participation was enough to warrant a suit. But I'm telling you, man, if you're going to be doing this stuff, know your basic law, know an attorney. And the best way to get an attorney is to make sure you look at what they're specialized in. Okay. You got some attorneys, hey, I'll do this, and I'm out, right? But if an attorney specializes in family law, that's their specialty, and maybe their second one is criminal or something stupid. I need a civil harassment type lawyer. So just do your homework on it. Just do your homework on it. And I had so much confidence in my attorney because just from the day he saw it, he was like, no, that's not harassment. That's this is obviously retaliatory. So there we go. So that's what happened in a nutshell. I don't want to really go into it too much because I don't want to get in trouble again. But masterclass, I won, all hands down, basically gone. She didn't get the TRO. The judge came in, said, I am confused. What kind of relationship do you guys have? You cannot prove a civil harassment suit when the first thing that you say is, we've only spoken to each other 3 times in public. That's not, you're not going to win a harassment suit on that. So hopefully everything is done and, you know, everybody moves on with their lives, and, you know, that's the end of it. You know, we'll see. Donovan, Saadiq, the Inland Empire Informer, you guys have just now been informed. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys at the city council meeting, those of you guys that are going to go.